Welcome to In and Out of Character. This is a podcast about role-playing. Just a conversation between two players about their characters and about the way that they feel about role-playing. That's all there is. Some caution is advised, as some of these topics may not be suitable for everybody. I wanted to make this a whole separate thing because this is a topic that I have a lot to say about, and I didn't want to take up your time in like what you wanted to say. So I figured that I would just like make this a mini episode of some sort. It might be like 20 minutes long, it might be like 30 minutes long, but I have a lot to say about.
It might be another hour. Who knows? Maybe two.
Who knows? My son's gonna get up here pretty soon, so it might be until then. But you asked me a question, and I wanted to answer that question. And if you want to, go ahead and re-ask the question so everybody knows what you asked.
I'm not even sure myself. Hold on.
Well, that's fine.
What did I ask you?
You were asking me. You didn't really ask me a question. You wanted my opinion on a character who was a single father, and like he was an assassin, and he was a single father. And you said that you thought of me when you were thinking up this character. And,
because you're old.
I am old. I'm very old. Actually, I'm not terribly old. I'm just 32. But this is something I have a lot to say on. So I couldn't just like type this out for you. Because I really actually started to type this out. But then I seriously got to my fourth paragraph and I was like, you know what? This would be much better as an episode, and I could just tell you about it and maybe kind of get myself out there as well.
Hell yeah. That's it.
So, being a single father, I can tell you first and foremost, normally does not come from a happy ending. Normally, I became a single father. How do I start this? My fiance, my son's mother at the time, had a hard time dealing with postpartum depression. And if you don't know what that is the bit after pregnancy.
So it's like after childbirth, you like have some sort of lingering thoughts or depression or something of the sort.
Yeah, pretty much. If anybody doesn't know what this is, I really advise you go do some research into it. And maybe I'm not saying the name right properly, because I have a very hard time saying the names of anything medical. But
everyone does.
Yeah, so my hat's off to any medical people listening to this who know what they're talking about, because I tried real hard to learn, and it's just impossible for me. But she what happened is she got to the point where she would like regularly start throwing stuff around the house. Like, she'd get upset. She was very easy to make angry, and like she would just spend hours crying. And I tried my best to be there with her as much as I possibly could be, but I still had to work 2 jobs because I was the only one working, and now we had a baby to provide for, and so I was hardly home, and she was always with the baby, and she couldn't go out and do stuff. And I totally understand like what made her upset and sad. But finally I was like, hey, maybe we need to go like see a doctor, because like you're throwing stuff. You set our baby down so hard the other day that he started crying, and like she set our son down, and it wasn't gentle, but it wasn't like so hard that it hurt him, but it wasn't like it was just way too hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, like we obviously need to go see somebody about like what's going on. So we took her to the doctor. Um, and like finally she agreed after some time, because at first she thought I was trying to get rid of her, and that wasn't the case. I was just trying to get us some help because we obviously
Yeah.
needed help. We were both new parents, and again, she was just very easy to set off. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna and I'm and I, when I say this, when I say set off, I mean it. It wasn't pretty. It was very hard
Mm.
when she went off. Um, like I would have to take my son and go to another room because I didn't want to be near her when she's screaming and throwing
Uh,
stuff. And anyways, I'm starting to get like that. But when I got there, or when we got to the doctor, it was Easter Day, and my son was barely a few months old, and I was sitting with my fiance, and again, I won't name her because I don't want her name out there. I don't want her impacted by this whatsoever.
yeah.
Um, it came. We sat down with the doctor and we started talking about things. And she admitted something to the doctor that I had no idea she did, because again, I work two jobs, and
Yeah.
she she said something, and this is the sort of thing that when you admit, the police get involved,
Oh.
and I she told the doctor. Thankfully, she told the doctor that I had no idea about this. Like, she had never told me. So it was from her own word of mouth. Like, I had no idea that this happened. Oh
Mm.
God, I'm starting to get sick just thinking about it. But
If this is like,
uh,
just as a side note, if this is like getting too much for you or something,
well,
just
it's
take your time.
yeah, it's more like role playing a single father. Like, you have to realize that, like, nobody, like, there are some people out there who want to be single by themselves, but it
Yeah.
is so difficult to raise a child by yourself.
Mm.
And like, God, and like the being a single parent normally just does not come from a good place.
Yeah.
Like, not many people ask to be single as a parent.
Yeah.
Some people make it work. It's been difficult for me, but I was pulled to the side after she told the doctor, and she told me there are officers on their way to go get your child. My child at the time was with my sister, and she told me they are going to take him to the hospital. They are going to take him to this hospital, but you can't see him right away. I was 2 hours away from that hospital.
Oh.
Um, and I remember that night I got in my car after I had said goodbye to my fiance. I got in the vehicle and I just went. And I had everybody calling me because for some reason during Easter, during the celebrations and stuff like that, because my family is very religious, a
Mm.
sheriff shows up out of nowhere and wants to see Jaden, my son. And
What? What? Wait, what?
yeah,
A show up
a,
shows up. What do you mean?
a sheriff shows up, a police officer shows up and wants.
Oh, I thought you said a show up, like an angel or something. I
Oh
was very
no,
confused. I'm
no, no,
sorry.
no, no! A sheriff, like a police officer.
Okay.
But and they're calling me, asking me what's going on, and I'm trying to explain what's going on over the phone. That 2 hour drive, I made in an hour and a half. I was speeding the whole way. I don't think I ever stopped going 90, except through
Damn.
towns. And I went, and I didn't care if cops were following me or whatever. I was desperate to get to my child.
Yeah.
Because after what I had heard, just it broke my heart. And I finally got to the hospital or the doctor where they took him, and they would not allow me to see my son. And I remember that day just being so sick to my stomach. about what was going on. Like I was so emotionally torn up that I had to go into the bathroom and throw up because
Yeah.
I couldn't get to my child. And I understand I have loved my child from the moment I found out that I was having my child.
Yeah.
And and I was just in this position where I found out that my child's life was in danger, and I or had been in danger at one point, and I couldn't get to him. Finally, they let me see my child, and I remember going into the hospital. I ignored everybody. I didn't care about a single word they said. I took up my child and I held him and I started crying. And I told him, like I'm starting to cry now. I told him, and he couldn't understand me. He's barely a few months old, but I just told him, Daddy didn't know, and I'm so sorry.
Oh man.
And being a single parent most often does not, like I said earlier, does not come from a happy place. I
Yeah.
do not want to raise my child by myself. I did
Yeah.
not. I did not then. Now I'm more okay with it because I just don't trust anybody to help raise my
Mm.
child. I can't. It's like what happened has become such a deep-seated part of me.
Yeah.
And I tried.
I
Uh-huh.
I imagine that this is like this is the sort of thing like you you cannot. I have a lot of difficulty letting let go. Like this changes you for life.
Oh yeah, this is something that it's gonna be with me for the rest of my life. And his mother is better now, but there will never be a point where I trust her 100% anymore. And I've
Yeah.
told her this.
That's totally reasonable, I would
Mhm.
say.
Oh yeah, I believe so. But as a single parent, you don't get a lot of time. Your character,
Yeah.
who is an assassin, I mean, money solves all problems. So
Yeah,
if
that's not that's kind of the thing I got out of this. Like it's probably very difficult to raise a child alone,
hmm
and like being an assassin, that's like that could get very ugly, but it would also solve a lot of problems. Like you could just throw money out the window and just be able to provide for your child, which would also be like a reason. I told this to you. I was thinking that this character was an assassin, and
hmm
then he met someone who was interesting to him, and they had a child, and something happened to the other person, and now they have to raise it themselves. So it's at a point where it's like he doesn't want to go back into this hobby because it's like it's very dangerous and could mean a lot of trouble. But it's like it's for his own like child, so he kind of he's very easily convinced to do this, and it's like, well, but you could provide for your like literal son, you know? It's like, yeah, I guess I have to do this.
hmm Well, I can tell you that right now. Like, even of course, I am not an assassin. I fix appliances for a living.
I hope you aren't.
I fix appliances for a living. I fix washers, dryers, fridges, microwaves, stoves, ovens, that sort of stuff. Just your household
Mm,
appliances.
yeah,
Um, and I work for myself. Now, I do make a good amount of money, but when your child is sick and there is nobody to watch your child because your child can't go to school while they are sick or they're ill,
yeah,
especially right now. And there are times where I've had weeks off because my son is sick and I can't work and there's nobody to watch him. And you
yeah,
find real quick that your money dries up real fast. And
yeah,
it is heartbreaking when you look at your account and go, "Oh my god, if I don't work very soon, then I'm not going to be able to provide for my child." Like you don't even care as a parent, you don't even give a shit about yourself. I can eat like a can of carrots every day if I have to. And as long as my child is getting a healthy meal, I don't give a shit what I eat. As long as he is getting what he needs. And
yeah,
um and being a single parent, you just like, well, already being a parent, you worry about your kids and you worry about their health.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, here he is. Hey, buddy. Hey, I'm talking about you. Huh? You want to watch a show? You want some toast? Toast and show? Okay. I'm gonna go set him up with a show and some toast real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's fine. Take it down.
Come on here. Get your cup.
I'm all alone now. I have full control of the entire podcast. This is probably we're gonna cut out because I'm an idiot and talking absolute bullshit. I have no idea what to say now. Damn it. Well, when, or I don't know what I should call you. I guess I'll just call you when. When you're hearing this in the production or whatever and cut it out, I say hi as a secret message to you. And maybe to viewers if you don't cut this out, and then I'll look like an idiot, but I'll take that risk.
There you go. I'm back. I'm sorry about
Hello there. I just said some random bullshit while you were gone.
that. Oh, it's okay. Um. So while I was in there, I was thinking about what we were just talking about, and I was bringing up. I brought up uh, the the reason why I became a single father because I think
Yeah,
your character is going to be important how they became a single parent and
yeah,
how they're handling it because it doesn't get easier. I don't
yeah,
know if there will ever be a time where I can look back and go and be happy about what happened. Like
I mean, I don't think you can be happy about like
yeah.
trauma or traumatic experiences like
Mhm.
that. You know, I
And
think
I
it doesn't. Sorry if I'm cutting you off.
no, go ahead.
It doesn't really get easier, but you learn to deal with it and sort of cope in your own way. You know.
Mhm. Yeah. Um Another thing about like the whole origin story for your character is how they interacted with their significant other because like even though his mom did what she did,
Yeah.
I there's a part of me that still loves her, like and I understood that where like the reason why she did this was because she was ill and she had troubles adjusting,
Yeah.
and like I don't fault her for that. Like I definitely blame her for what she did because she didn't have to do it. But
Yeah.
I can at least be understanding about why she did it, even if I don't like it.
Yeah.
Um and and I tried when Child Protective Services got involved. I tried and I tried and I tried to hold us together because it was my whole intention of making sure like we got back together as a family. Like
Yeah.
I told her that I wasn't abandoning her, and even though that my son and I had to go off, and like it was still my honest belief that we were gonna get back together and we were gonna be the family that we both wanted to be, and but she had to get better first, and what happened is that she just didn't believe me. She didn't trust me, and she spent months just sabotaging everything that I was trying to do because she was
Uh,
upset. And and it sucks cuz like I said, I still loved her. And to this day a part of me still does love her, but
mm,
I'll never trust her again to be that person that I thought we were going to be.
yeah.
So it really sort of depends on like how your character interacted with their significant other
Yeah.
and how deeply they loved them, or what have you, or what happened to cause her demise.
Yeah.
Um
Well, demise. I don't know if I'm going that road yet, but you
yeah,
know.
but yeah, well, to cause her to not be involved in the child's life.
Yeah.
Um Mind you, this isn't like this isn't like just making up a random like you're making up a character, obviously.
Yeah,
And this is me coming from my point of view as a single parent. I mean, you could very easily skim over most of everything. Um
yeah,
and just not talk about it. I mean, you're a single parent, and that's all the other characters need to know is that you are
yeah,
just a single dad, and this is your job, and this is your child, whoever that may be. And that's as far as you could go with it. But there's a lot of aspects where you're just like this. Like when I talk to people, I don't tell them about what happened to Jaden and I. Like I very rarely talk about it because it
yeah,
doesn't get any easier to talk about. Like even now, I'm struggling to formulate the words and the emotions because it has been so locked into me for the last couple of years. My son is 3 now.
yeah,
He just turned 3, and I like the pregnancy was hard. Everything after that was hard, and it is so locked into me.
yeah,
Um, with that with that said, yeah, your character might not. It,
yeah,
it is taking me a lot to come out and talk about all this just because
yeah,
it's like one of the biggest things that I don't want to say I regret,
mm,
but I do consider that I failed in as like a father and
yeah,
as a fiance myself to his mother. Like
mm,
I feel like my son will never know how much I regret not being able to keep our family together.
yeah. I mean,
And
I, I, I I don't know you, the whole situation, but
mhm,
I can imagine that this is very difficult to talk about. Which, I appreciate it a lot that you
mhm,
talk with me about this, especially since I'm just a random guy you met in like tavern roleplay. It's
mhm. Well, it's
that's why I appreciate like that you open up and talk about it. It's like you
you,
know,
you get to the point, and this was actually another thing that I was going to get to is that eventually, like no matter what, your character, it depends on how resolved they are to
yeah,
their situation. It depends on who they are, but I found that it's getting easier and easier for me to break on this
mm,
subject, and it's not because I want someone to feel sorry for me. It's getting to the point where it's just like it's this thing that I have nightmares about and I have constant dreams about, and I think about almost every single day now.
yeah.
And it gets to the point, and it might also with your character that when someone comes up to them and asks them, they might just spill their guts and just get it out there because they're just so tired of holding it in. And it
Yeah.
does wear on you as a human being or whatever your character is going to be. I don't know what your character is going to be. I wasn't.
That's another thing I was gonna
Mm,
get into sometime else, but not on this podcast.
no, I got you. But like, I also suppose it depends on where your character comes from socially because
Yeah.
I mean I was raised pretty much on my own as well.
Mm.
And with the moment that I had a chance to take off and do whatever I wanted, I did. I walked the Appalachian Trail right out of high school. I went and traveled the world because that's what I wanted to do, and it didn't matter if I had barely any money to my name. I was gonna go do it.
Hell yeah.
Um, and like I went out and I had a good life so far. I won't lie. Like I've had a genuinely good life, and I have friends all over the world, and I have family. I have families who aren't even blood, but if I call them up and say, "Hey, I desperately need a place to go," they will take me in,
Yeah.
and they will take Jade and I in. But I don't want to. That's another thing. When as a parent, it's so hard to ask for help because you admit that you can't do it by yourself, and there is, to me, right now, there is no greater failure or greater pain than telling somebody that you can't take care of your own child and you need help. Like there is nothing. By the way, for anybody listening to this, there is no reason not to ask for help.
Yeah.
If you need the help, ask for help and the people who love you will understand.
Uh,
but it doesn't make it any easier. And that might also happen with your character, where they have to get into a situation where they ask for help raising this
yeah,
child. And
yeah, probably.
mhm, like if I pay someone to watch my son, that's one thing because I'm that is me using the hard-earned money that I made to watch to take care of my child.
Yeah,
But if I have to go someone and be like, "Listen, I don't have any food. I don't have any money. I can't fix my car right now. I need help. I need someone to watch my son so I can work." Um and recently that's what I got to. Very, very, very recently. I am a person who does not like to have a little like so little in their bank account in case of emergencies. And it got to the point where I was almost down to nothing. And my son was sick and my car was broken. And I desperately needed the help.
yeah,
I was luckily able to pull out of it before I had to really do anything. I spent about a grand recently fixing my car.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I had to change out the battery. I had to change out the alternator. Like just a whole bunch of crap went wrong with my car
yeah.
at the same time. And the wires, like the tires were bad, and just all this stuff happened to my vehicle all at once. And I need my vehicle to work because I travel to people's houses.
Mm,
Um, but your character may have difficulties asking for assistance.
yeah,
It really sort of depends on the situation that put them there in the first place.
yeah.
Um,
That's sort of it's good. It's good to bring that up because it sort of helps me like think about what I want to do with this character, who I want them to be, and earlier you said like, oh, if they're human or whatever. Like, I'm sort of working on my own kind of original species kind of thing,
mhm,
and I was thinking to make him that. And I've been sort of mostly working on this species in general and giving them blonde everything, so I've not been able to sort of work on the character itself a lot.
mhm,
So
mhm,
that's this is definitely gonna be food for thought. Yeah.
mhm. Um, Another big topic I have on this, another subject that I have on this topic is the feelings of neglect that you get. Um, Even just doing this podcast, like my son is currently in the living room watching his favorite shows and eating cinnamon toast, and it's one of it's his favorite thing to do every morning.
Oh yeah.
As I'm getting ready for work and as I'm getting him ready for school, he is a happy child. But they're like, no matter what, you're always going to wonder, am I doing enough?
Mm.
And for me
Like
personally, huh?
that's definitely the kind of vibe I got from you, and especially from like my own mother.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are divorced, and my dad, he's not a good person.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been living with my mom for a couple of years now, and I have a handicap. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sick, like actually sick, and my mom is just such a good support, and she's great, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And last week we had to do some we had to paint the walls a little bit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was feeling awful. Like I had a very big headache and I just couldn't get up. And so my mom just did it all by herself, and that's not a big deal. She just has to paint the walls. That's not like a difficult thing to do. But I'm like, man, she has to do that all by herself. While I'm just like lying there. I'm sick and I can't do anything. I feel so awful. Like I
Right.
feel like she's doing too much because I'm not doing well.
Mm-hmm. And
And
that was actually something else I was going to bring up. But go ahead, finish what you're going to say, and then I'll continue.
yeah, and it's like I talked with her about it. I'm like, yeah, like I feel bad because I wasn't able to help you. I was just, yeah, I was feeling like I'm useless, so to speak, on that day. And she even admitted herself. She thought, yeah, well, I thought the same. I thought, I had to do this all by myself. It was kind of like, not that good, but it's obviously not like huge problem because you were sick. There was like actually a reason why you couldn't do this, and so she definitely felt like it was a bit much too.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, this is just like painting the walls. But
Mm-hmm.
she does so much to support me. Well, I often think like, man, she's such a pillar of support in my life. I feel like I wouldn't be able to go on if I wouldn't have the support anymore, you know?
Right. No, and I get that. Um, what I was saying earlier is that like I get up at 7 o'clock, not 7 o'clock. I get up at 5 o'clock every morning,
Yeah.
and I do a little bit of work on the content,
Mm.
trying to get things ready, trying to do this crazy idea that I have for the community.
Yeah.
And then I leave the house by 7 o'clock every morning.
Yeah.
I drop my son off by 7:30 at the daycare because that's how long it takes me to
Mm.
get there, and then I try to get to my first customer's house by 8 o'clock every morning. And
Yeah.
then I normally work until 4 or 4:30,
Yeah.
and then I stop and go get my son. Well, I try to stop at 4 o'clock so I can go get my son because I don't know
Yeah.
where I'm going to be. I don't know, it might be an hour away from the daycare.
Yeah.
So I try to stop at 4 o'clock, and then I go pick up my son, and then I come home, and there's always this feeling of like, and then I'll hop on the computer and let my son watch TV or something like that. But there
Yeah.
are there are times where it's like, am I giving my child enough attention? Is
Yeah.
he getting is he acting out because he's just upset, or is he acting out because I'm not giving him enough
Yeah.
love? And
That,
there's
that's
this.
uh that's like a huge problem, I feel like, because he's just 3 years old. He can't like tell you, "Hey, Dad, I want to spend some time with you," or whatever.
With
He's
you.
just like
Hmm.
crying or whatever he does.
Yeah, and you have to, as a parent, be able to decipher your child's words.
Mm,
And like I said, I love my son, and it's so difficult because you're trying to make something happen. Like this has been a dream of mine since before my son was born. But his mother was very controlling
mm.
and did not like it when I spent time with other people. And um
That's always kind of like a difficult thing to talk about. Like
hold on.
you're just spending the time with other people, and then it's like people like your fiance or whatever is getting upset at us. It's like that for me. That's I have experiences with that myself, so I can understand it's like difficult, you know.
Another thing I was going to talk to you about this little subject is that besides for the neglect that you feel as a parent, depending on how old your child is, they also might start showing signs of that neglect, where they themselves feel neglected. And I can't imagine what it's like to be an assassin. I really cannot, but I assume that it takes a lot of time and planning, and this isn't something that your character is going to be able to go do in like a couple of days. That this is something that's
Yeah.
going to take weeks and months of preparation and time. It really sort of just depends on the setting that
Yeah.
you're at, and
Uh,
your child might honestly show resentment for that, or be indifferent to you as a father. It's just like, oh, it's my it's the person who helped birth me. All right.
yeah. That's definitely a good point. I have to remember that.
Mm-hmm. I
It kind of that kind of reminds you of like TV movie tropes or whatever when like the parent is very busy and trying to tell the child, I'm sorry, I'm very busy, I have to do this, but they don't understand that. They're just a child.
Right. And that's another thing. It's like I'm always like, I know that I go do a full-time job, and then I get online, and then I help with this community and stuff like that. I don't ever want to get to the point where I'm neglecting my child. Um,
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that I can gain enough support to start doing this more full time and free up that time because I love my career, but I mean, first and foremost, I'm always going to take care of my child. I
Yeah,
am
that's like the most
always,
important thing.
yeah, I am always going to put my child above everything else. But
Yeah.
I'm also trying to get to the point where I can do this crazy thing that I love to do. And it's
Yeah.
so hard because and this is a selfish topic. You and your character are going to struggle between putting yourself and your child first or
Yeah.
your child
That
first.
that's
And you're going to make compromises.
yeah, that's also like thinking about his choice of profession, let's say, of being an assassin. I think that what I immediately thought of when I thought about this character was that yeah, his child is gonna be like the most important person to him, obviously, without a doubt, and so he can get behind like killing someone else to be able to provide for his own like child, you know.
Mhm.
That's I thought that was sort of like an interesting angle to get into, you know.
Yeah, and that's I think that's a lot of what I have to say on the topic. It's just,
Uh,
it depends on how they became a single parent. It becomes on how they're handling being a single parent, and it comes down to the relationship between their career and their child.
yeah,
Like that's what the driving factor is, and I think being a parent, especially a single parent, um, and that is going to be a big factor between the times that they are what am I trying to say here? That's gonna be a big factor when it comes to their interaction with other characters as well. I, to
yeah,
this day, still have major trust issues with
yeah,
anybody when it comes to my son. Like
yeah.
the only reason my son goes to daycare is because I have to leave the house. If I could
Yeah,
have a
you
stay-at-home
have to
job,
work, you have to provide for your child, obviously.
mhm. If I could have a stay-at-home job, I would have a stay-at-home job, and
Yeah,
I don't even care what it is. I would suffer a million stupid customers every day than rather put my son out in the world. But that is a very selfish statement because my son is going to get hurt someday, somehow, somewhere. And
yeah,
that is something that I, as a human being and as a parent, am gonna have to accept. That's gonna happen because
yeah,
being hurt is a part of life.
yeah. You also said that earlier, like when when that happened with your fiance
Mhm.
and your son, you feel like you failed your child in a way.
Oh, I
And
definitely do, and like I
what
said
what
mm,
I thought in that moment was, and now I'm thinking about this again. You didn't know that this was happening. You didn't know that this was a thing, and as a human being, the only thing you can do is your best. And obviously, sometimes you will fail and bad things will happen, but
yeah,
you
failure
will
is a part
still
of
do
life.
your best. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, failure is definitely a part of life, and
yeah,
no matter how hard you try, there is still a chance that you're just going to fail, and I think what's more important as a single parent is that you just have to remember that you're trying,
yeah,
and you may not be the best single parent, but as long as you it's so hard because, like, there are parents out there who are just the shittiest parents, and
yeah,
being a single parent is not an excuse to do shitty things,
yeah.
especially to your children,
No, definitely.
and I don't even know where I'm going with this line of thought. I really don't. It is I can say I think at the end of this conversation, the biggest thing is I wish I wasn't a single parent. I wish I
Yeah.
had my family. And I miss my family, and I really miss what we had, and I've tried to be with somebody since then, and for, like, 2 years, I thought I was going to be, but
Mm.
the person who I was with decided that she wanted to be with somebody else, and like after that, I just don't trust anybody, and I don't think I will ever trust anybody again, not for
Yeah,
a very long time.
that's fair. Well, I feel that's reasonable. And what that reminds me of, this like trust issue. A friend of mine, her sort of main character that she has worked a lot on over the years, he has heavy trust issues, and I feel that my friend is able to convey that very well because she had a lot of experiences with like trust issues and
Mhm.
just bad people in general, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like I feel like when we're making our characters, we're always trying to put ourselves into their shoes, or just
Mhm.
making a comfort character, so to speak,
Mhm.
which I've also sort of noticed with my main character.
Mhm.
I um, it's something I only like realized last week after 4 years of having this character. I basically just made myself as a character, or rather, what I would like to be like, you know.
Mhm.
And like I'm my character sort of has a quote unquote handicap, or something that would be considered a handicap in his society, but he's still able to stand out in his own way and be successful, which is kind of like what I would like to try and achieve. I have a
Right.
handicap, and on the normal market, like on the normal market of like work and everything, I'm not considered normal. I may be considered a burden, and I want to just go past that and somehow stand out in a way.
Did you hurt yourself? What'd you do? Okay. Want me kiss it? Here, let me come down here and kiss your booby. I'm gonna pick you up to do it. Here you go. Mwah. There we go. Go watch your show, okay, buddy? It's okay. It's okay. Because you got the ants yesterday, remember? You were playing outside and you wanted to mess with the ants like I told you not to do, and you still did it. You're okay. I love you. Go eat your toast. Watch your show. But um there's and I can understand what you're saying actually, because when you said this, it brought me to something interesting as well. Well, it's not interesting. It's something that's really heavy. And if any of you out there listening have an aversion against suicide, now is the time to stop listening. And I understand, and I love you, and I'm sorry that this is something that is heavy on your soul. Um, when I started getting back into ESO, I was very suicidal because this
Ah,
other person that I was with, it hurt because I thought I did it. Tiny, I thought I did it. I thought I had a family again. And
yeah,
I put so much effort and love into this other person. And by no means am I saying I am perfect. No, I
yeah,
have my faults. I
yeah,
do as a human being. I there are things that I do that are just shitty. And anybody who says that they are not a shitty human being at points isn't a human being, because
yeah,
like everybody has their shortfallings. I am
yeah,
not the exception to that, and I wasn't an exception in this relationship either.
mm,
And they wanted to be with somebody else, and it killed me. It hurt me
yeah,
so bad, because I feel like I was just used at the end of the day.
yeah,
And um, and I don't know if this will ever happen to your character, but I was very, very suicidal. I got to the point that I actually had to start calling helplines just to kind of get through, and I could never talk to anybody about it because, again, admitting it was the worst, because again, you feel so bad. You feel like such a failure when you look at someone and just be like, I want to die. And and especially as a parent, because like, what's going to happen to your child? There's no one else to watch my son. It's just me, and if I die, what happens to my son? And it might be the same thing for your character. Like they might start regretting their work because like what happens if they get hurt?
Yeah.
And speaking of, there's my son in the background screaming. Uh, like suicide already is not a kosher thing. Like if anybody is out there who is heavily considering suicide, and you listen to this, stop and please go get yourself some help. And I
Yeah.
know that asking for help is just the worst, but do it anyways, or at least try to try
Yeah.
to get the help, or to talk to somebody. You don't have to call a hotline. And if you feel like you don't have any friends, you know what? Message me on Discord. I will talk to you, or at least I will damn sure try to talk to you. But um, as a parent, it's even worse because you're like there were times where I could feel my wrists. Does that make sense? And like
I don't know.
yeah, like I could feel my arms, and it's like it's just this horrible feeling. And I would feel that, and then I would think about my son, and then I'd feel so bad just for feeling it.
Hmm.
And I was in this really just dark place. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because when I got back into Elder Scrolls, I got back into Elder Scrolls because I was role playing in Final Fantasy at the time this all happened, and I left the character that I was playing behind, Fioli, and so I left her behind, and I felt like I couldn't just go back to those people, I felt like I needed to take a step away and a break, and there were some people in the guild that were just really hard on my mentality,
Yeah.
and so I felt like I couldn't go back to them,
Yeah, that's
and
perfectly reasonable. Which,
mhm,
I can relate to with
mm.
like Guild Wars and everything, like I said.
But the reason why I brought up suicide and the subsequent thing that you were talking about is
Yeah.
because when I got back to Elder Scrolls, my character, the reason why I had left Elder Scrolls in the first place is my character had went through a very traumatizing experience, and it left me in a position where I felt some people were upset with me as a player, and it just I left because there was some drama going on, and I didn't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Um, so when my character came back, I had to create like this whole storyline as to why my character was gone for 2 years,
Ah.
and I had to come up with a reason why she wanted to join up with this guild called the Divine Conclave,
Yeah.
and I made it to where um the story that had happened is that she had made a priest kill himself, and the priest was an actual character, an actual player,
Yeah.
and this is a story that took like 6 months to go through.
God damn.
uh yeah, it took a long time to get to this one story. And I, as a person, kind of wore this other player out, and we had a good long heart to heart about it. And like this is another one of my shortcomings I was talking about. I'm better about this now, but I used to really like force the stories to happen.
Hmm.
Um, like I am not a person who likes to wait around on things. If you can, if let's make it happen. If you want to make a story, let's make a story.
But
And
I wish I was like that because I just can't commit to anything. It just
mhm,
I don't end up doing any stories, which
mhm.
just sucks, man.
No, I get it, but I had to come up with a reason for why my character would be coming out of the abyss now and role playing with people. And I had it to where she was coming to the Divine Conclave to basically die because of what she had did to this one priest. Um, and um, I realized that the reason why I chose that is because I, as a player, also wanted the same thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean to make this happen. I
Yeah.
really truly didn't. For anybody out there listening who are like, yeah, all right, I really didn't mean to make that happen. And you start to realize you're like, no matter what you do as a player, your out of character feelings are going to seep through. Like
Yeah.
no matter what you do,
Yeah.
you are your character is an extension of you, and vice
Mm.
versa. Your character will eventually just start rubbing off on you as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
on the topic of single parenthood, it's the same thing where it's like as a single parent, like I've noticed Callie is a lot more motherly. Calipers is a lot more motherly than she used to be, and that's
Mm.
because I'm a father, and I have to take care of a small human being at any given moment of the day.
Yeah.
Um, and you're gonna if your character is anybody like me, your character is gonna struggle with acceptance. Your character is going to struggle between their dreams and their responsibilities. They're gonna struggle with regret
Mm.
and failure and vices, and but there's gonna be good times too, because like after I get off this with you, I'm gonna go hiking with my son,
Oh
because
yeah.
me and my son are gonna we love hiking. And I used
That's
to love
great.
hiking when I was a kid and when I was younger. And I used to love camping. And I lost that when I became a single parent because I had to take care of my son. But now it's at the point where I can trust my son to go play outside while I watch him through the window and the screen door.
Yeah.
Um, and like you look at your child and you're just like, wow, you're just how do you exist? You're just so magnificent and amazing and awesome. And I can't believe you're my baby. And like I know I've talked a lot about the bad things, but there are so many good things as well. I love my son, and my son does the silliest stuff, and I'm like, yes, that's my baby. That's my baby boy. And
Smart boy.
that's
Yeah.
yeah. And there's a sense of pride. Like my son is being potty trained right now. Like I'm teaching him how to potty train, and my son woke up in the middle of the night and just went to the bathroom all on his own. And I came out like, yes, way to go, little man, you're a champion, woo, baby. And like I'm giving him a high five, and he's tired and he wants just to go back to sleep. And like this like your character, if they're anything like me, will just be happy over the smallest things, because it's like, yes, that's my child. My
That's
child,
amazing.
when my child first counted to 10 all on their own, I about threw a parade. I was so excited. um but in like there's no way you can have just good or bad things with your child.
Yeah.
You are going to have, as a parent, not even as a single parent, as a parent, you're going to have just such a blast with your kid. If you wanted to have your child, like if a child was something that you really wanted to have, then it's it's an amazing experience. And like now my child's getting to the point where he can communicate with me. He can actively say, "Daddy, I want some toast. Daddy, I would like some milk, and I would like a show."
Oh yeah.
And you're like, "Yeah, buddy, what kind of show you want?" And he'll be like, I want Coco Melon, or I want dinosaurs,
Oh yeah.
or and you're just like, "All right, man, let's get some dinosaurs going, dude. Let's sit down and watch some dinosaurs together."
Yeah, so talking about that, like you have to actually sit down and like watch like Cocomelon, I guess, with your son, right?
Um, well, I don't watch. I mean, I don't have to if I really don't want to, but I would like to.
Yeah.
So I try to, like, um if my son really wants to sit down and watch a movie, I will make the time to sit down and watch a show with my
Oh
son,
yeah.
just because I love him. And that's what I have to say on the topic. I don't know if this is going to help you build your character at all. It's just that with parenthood, you
Yeah.
have good and bad, and you are forced with a lot of choices in life. And like I can be sad and depressed, and I can be hurt at the end of the day, but it is still my responsibility to get up and go to work no matter
Yeah.
what. And it is my responsibility to make sure that little man out there is taken care of.
Mm.
And your character might feel the same way.
Yeah. Well, I definitely appreciate you sitting down here with me and talking about it, even though we said we would be like 20, 30 minutes. It's been like over an hour.
Yeah, sorry about. Like I said, this is the reason why I had this. I was gonna make this a whole second episode. It's just because like I have so much to say on the topic, and I haven't put this out there in the world yet. As a matter of fact, I think once I release this episode, this is gonna be the first time anyone has really heard about it. Like some people
Yeah,
know small things, but nobody knows the whole truth to it. And
yeah,
I
and
think I'd
that's
rather.
like
Hmm.
people listen to these podcasts and they're like, well, yeah, I listened to this guy talk for like an hour, but I don't know this guy, so I feel like this is gonna be good for like getting you closer to your audience in a way, or something.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. I to be honest with you, I think, like I was saying earlier, eventually your character's gonna break. I think this is just me kind of breaking. To be honest with you,
Yeah,
I'm tired all the time.
yeah.
I'm worn out. Being a oh god, something else I want to tell you. Being a single parent, you're just exhausted all the time. I get I get maybe 6 hours of sleep.
That's like I was basically thinking to like have my character just be like I was thinking that he's like to his son he's obviously like trying to be like a supportive, friendly, energetic parent, but if his son is not around, he's just like, God, I'm so tired. I want to sleep.
Oh, and that's what happens. But like I mean, you'll find the time to rest eventually,
Yeah,
and but I mean, dude, it's get up and go. And if you have dreams that you want to make, then you're gonna make the time to make it
yeah,
happen. And that's pretty much what I have to do now. Like I said this morning, I got up at 4 o'clock this morning, and I messaged you soon after I woke up. It
yeah.
is almost 8 o'clock now, and you and I have been talking for pretty much the last
2-3 hours or something.
yeah about.
Damn.
Uh,
Well, again, I really appreciate you sitting down here with me and talking about it. It's
that's actually my line. That's my line, sir. That's
well,
I
fuck you.
appreciate you. I appreciate
I
you sitting
appreciate
down and
you.
talking with me.
I'm gonna use my know you card, Mister.
But really, thank you for allowing me to just like air this out because it's yourself as a human being does weigh on your character, and I feel like I haven't had the chance to really just talk about this to people. And I don't want to, like, I didn't go into obviously every detail, and I don't think I ever really want to. But it was still nice just to be able to sit down and honestly say, this is who I am as a person and a player. And if you want to have a character even remotely based off of me as who I am as a single parent, then this is just the things that I go through.
Yeah.
So thank you. Like, no, seriously, like genuinely and sincerely, thank you so much for allowing me to just ramble about this one topic.
That's fine. Well, again, thank you, Mister.
All right. This was In and Out of Character with Tiny Upbeat. You'll see him next Thursday as he is now taking over the podcast.
Hell yeah, let's go.
All right, but really, thank you so much, and I'm gonna just end it there.